CramerSez.
Welcome. My name is Kramer. It is the CramerSez Project, Wednesday, December 3rd. Welcome to the show. If you're not sure of who we are and what we're doing, my name is Kramer. This is the CramerSez Project. I named it after myself because that's what all great men do. And we are trying to grow a grassroots news service. The reason we're doing what we're doing is because we can't trust the fuckers at ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MS Now, MSNBC, whatever the fuck they're calling themselves today. None of them are trustworthy, primarily because all of them are owned or managed in one form or another by BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. I know you want to hear that, but that's the way it is. So we've been looking at it. My background is media, entertainment, news. I've been doing it since I was 16 years old. I get the background part of it, building it and so on. That's not the hard part. The hard part is getting people to join in and say, yeah, you know what? I know how to do this specific thing. And for a while, I'm going to do it for free with CramerSez. That's what we're doing. It's grassroots. There's no money, folks. Every time I sign on here, I got to write somebody a check so that we can come do what we're doing. It's not as easy and free as it seems. I know that the systems have been democratized to an extent, but that doesn't mean that these services and how we're streaming and what we're serving and what we're doing next doesn't cost money. To this point, I've focused all of my earnings and everything on that. I monetize in social media. I take all those dollars. I don't spend them on me. I don't go on vacations. I'm not out there gallivanting around the country, using money from Facebook and Instagram. I take every dime and put it right back into what we're doing. Tomorrow I'm going to buy a brand new computer because we need it for the next thing that we're doing. That's how you do it. We have to get our voice. The way that we do it is that we, the people, own it. It's not owned by ABC, NBC, CBS, or invested into by BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. It's going to be people-powered. Down the road, you'll have the ability to go to your TV and watch what we're doing. That's what I see for our future. Now, some people say, well, that's crazy, Kramer. You're not going to be able to do that. I made a statement 30 years ago that I have an interest in starting an ad agency, and within about 6 years, it was one of the bigger ones in the nation. Not the biggest, not one of the big boys, but it grew from my basement into what it became with 300 employees. Yeah. So when it comes to understanding these issues and how to get them work, folks, that part got done. We worked that out over 2 years ago. It's getting everything else in place so that when we pull the trigger, it's ready to go and you guys have a product that not only can you trust in, because our client is you. That's the way it'll be structured. You don't like it, you don't like the news that you're getting, you don't like what you're seeing, let us know. And if we don't fix it, well, all you have to do is stop paying. You see, for years, the news has been free. You get it for free. And when you get it for free, guess what? You're the product. The news isn't the product. The only reason that they give you news, sports, weather, and so on, is so they can sell you ads in the newspaper. That's the only reason. So you're not the most important part of this whole product that they have. You go to a radio TV station, they broadcast all that stuff. They broadcast these shows for free to you so they can show you commercials. That's the process. That's how simple it is. It's not real complicated, folks. We're not going to have commercials. We're not doing that. You are the client. The CramerSez project is being built around the user as opposed to the advertiser and the people on air and everybody. They don't matter. The only thing that matters in what we're doing next is truth. That's all that matters. And that's been my mandate to everybody. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do. I don't care what your crazy, claim is. As long as it's backed by fact, I'm good with it. Don't care how strange and bizarre it is. You got it documented. You can show us that this is where it came from. He said that, she said that. We'll let you put it on. With that in mind, if you are a producer, if you have been doing what I'm doing, if you're a social media influencer and you want to go to the next step, we want to talk to you. If you're already doing this on a daily basis, we want to talk to you. We want to help you build your base. You see, I've been bitching and moaning with these other creators. They get a following and then they think it's theirs. They think that, oh no, I got to protect this. This is all mine. I can't do anything that would touch it. Folks, I've never looked at it that way. Followers come, followers go. I'm going to do what I'm going to do regardless. And if I do what enough people like, I'll have a bunch of followers. People say, yeah, I like that guy. The moment I say something or do something that goes counter to what you believe, your values, you're gone. I understand that. You're not my follower. You just agree with me for the time being. I get that. I don't do the same stuff that everybody else has done with their followers. I don't go into the comments. I don't go into battles with people. I don't go after other creators. Do you know what I've done the entire time that I've been on social media? Tried to deliver the truth. Just the truth. To get down to what's really going on. He said, she said. Trying to break down the semantics that these motherfuckers play on a daily basis. Their new thing is calling Trump a war criminal. He's a war criminal, really? He broke the Geneva Convention, really? It's kind of hard to do when you're not at war. Who are we at war with? The authority that allowed Barack Obama to blow the heads off 3 Somali sailors because they had kidnapped a ship, taken a ship, that's the same authority that Trump is using. Same exact authority. You know, in fact, Barack Obama used that authority, and they made a movie about what happened. Tom Hanks was so brave. When you remember what happened and you know your history and you know who did it and what they're doing now and what they're saying now, folks, you've got to have some outlet that shows you the context of what's being said and what's being done, what they've already said before. For example, the Democrats back in 09, 05, they were all gung-ho about keeping that fucking border shut down. It would damage the economy. Bernie Sanders came to the rescue and let everybody know that an open border policy was a Koch brothers policy, a right-wing policy, the policy of the conservatives, those greedy Republicans. This is what he said. The greedy Republicans who don't bring in these brown and black people to work for them for $2 and $3 an hour. It's devastating, and especially to our black youth. Do you realize that our black youth have an unemployment rate of around 51%? That's ridiculous. That's what Bernie Sanders said a few years ago. What's he saying today? Just the opposite. Why? Because he was bought off. Now, will ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, Fox News, or anybody else explain that and showcase this is what he was saying then and this is what he's saying now and you should not believe him because he's a fucking liar? No, they won't. They don't even want to go back and look at 2020 or 2021 or 2022 or 2023. They want to continue moving on, telling you stories of the day, gossip of the day, because that's what it is. It's gossip. It's not news. It's gossip. They're not worried about facts. They're not worried about what actually happened. They're only worried about keeping your eyeballs on their screens long enough to get those ad dollars in. And who's paying for those ad dollars? Yeah, Big Pharma. That's where the majority of all advertising from broadcast TV is coming from still today. Not Big Auto. Nope. They used to be the big 800-pound gorilla in the room. Big Pharma is. Building in permanent clients on a regular basis. That's who the biggest advertisers on TV are. So when you know that they're the biggest advertisers, you've got to ask yourself, if they're the biggest advertisers, and we know that there was vaccine harm done during the COVID hoax, shouldn't somebody be investigating that? You're right, somebody should, but they won't. The reason they won't is because they can't. Because it directly affects their bottom line. Imagine you go in to the president of Pfizer or the media buyer for Pfizer and go, hey, listen, I got some bad news for you, man. Seems that vaccine you made, it's a little hot. And it hurt some people, and we're going to have to report on that. And Pfizer says, okay, well, you can do that. But if you do, we're going to pull all of our advertising from all of your outlets. Not just ABC. Not just CBS, not just CNN, we're going to pull them from every platform you have. That's everything. You see, what's happened, folks, is that these organizations have gotten so big, the entertainment and the TV and the cable companies, they've gotten so big, they're monolithic. They're owned by just a few companies. And all of these companies have huge investments from BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. So when you ask yourself, are you going to hear what's really true? Probably not. They even captured NPR. I used to be a proud listener of NPR. Not because they were liberal, but because they had great content. They really did. And then they went off the fucking rails. They became ideologues. I've been calling for NPR to be defunded for years. I'm glad that Trump finally did it. You couldn't get a job. You cannot get a job at an NPR station if you're a conservative. Well, you can. You just can't say that part out loud. That's why we're building what we believe is going to be the next wave of news, entertainment. We see a big future. My background is in this. This is all I've done, and I've been pounding on doors for the last 2 years to get to the point that we are now, folks, and we're close. We're looking for people now. But I'm trying to keep this honest, right? I want to keep this honest. I do not want to get money involved if we don't have to. I want to wait for the money at the very end to reward those who have worked the hardest. Now, with that being said, I will never take a paycheck from the CramerSez project. No matter how much money we make, I will never take a paycheck. Will not do it. I'm not doing it for the money. At some point, we'll have to pay others because people need to live. I've made enough. I keep telling you, God has blessed me. This nation has blessed me. This is why I do this on a regular basis. I don't need to be doing this just like Trump. I could be sitting downstairs with my wife. She's the one that says, you've got to do this, Tim. You've got to keep going. For many of you know that my wife is ill, not in good health. She's the one that says, you've got to go do this, because if you don't, who will? If you don't go do it, who will? So let me ask you that. If you don't take your freedom and your liberty serious, who will? If you don't stand up for your rights, who will? If you don't have the courage to do it yourself, who are you expecting to do it for you? That's what my message is, folks. I don't want to be standing here alone. I don't want to be the only one. I want partners standing by me doing the exact same thing on a daily basis. And if you can do what I can do, or if you create documentaries, or you do interviews, or you do in-depth investigations, we want to talk to you. I will give you a platform. I don't own this. I built it, but I don't own it. The American people, you, the followers, own it. I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. I wouldn't be able to build this unless you followed. The views that you give me on Facebook and other platforms allows me to monetize and turn all of that into the gear. I wish I could turn it around and show you what this looks like on the other side. The gear that we've bought to get to this point, we kept hammering it through. Buy this, get this, do this. Because we want to do one thing and one thing only, and that's tell you, the American people, the truth. Hold those fuckers accountable, because MSNBC, CBS, CNN, ABC, NBC, none of them will do it. They're owned. And if you expect things to change, you're being, well, childishly naive. They're not going to do it. Why? Because they enjoy the status quo. They're not going to rock the boat. They're making billions of dollars. Why would they go and do something crazy like investigating their lead biller? The one they make the most money from, they're not going to go look into them. That'd be crazy. That's what we want to do. That's what service is going to be. Is we're going to dive into deep investigations, eventually get to a nightly newscast where I don't have to do this anymore. There'll be some good-looking dude or some good-looking girl, and they'll be telling you the news and screaming and yelling just like I do, probably younger. But what I'm building, what I've been wanting to do for the last 4 years in particular, but the last 2 is what we've been really, we got the plan down, is to start this process, folks, and we need you. Now, at this point, everybody starts asking for money, don't they? I need your money. I don't need your money. We do this right initially, we can get going without money. And if the product that we create is what the people want, well, they'll be willing to pay a monthly fee to be able to see what we're doing on a regular basis. They're doing it with Tucker. But that's Tucker. Folks, I've worked on the same sets. It's no different. Information's information, the truth is the truth, and if we're looking for it, we'll find it. What I've been doing for the last 4 years in particular is building a base, people that I can rely on. When I tell you that I'm talking to this person or this person or this person, it's because I've been taking the time over the last 4 years to build those networks. Before we could launch what we're going to do next, we had to build the infrastructure beneath it so that when we started pulling the triggers, we were ready to go. That took time. For example, one of the things I'm looking for right now is an executive producer. I need somebody to get other things done for me on a daily basis that I don't have time to do. I don't have any money to pay them. There's no income coming in. And I've got this thing, folks, that and I've told all my friends know this, I will help you out in any way possible. I will volunteer, I will show up, I will give my time, I will do what I can to help you. I won't do that for your buddy. Unless we're buddies, I don't do that. Right? I don't help anybody else. I've got a rule. I will help you, my friend. I will give you, you need a website done? I'll build you one. Yeah, that's easy. You need a TV commercial done, a radio commercial done? Yeah, we can get that done. And I'll help you out for free because you're my buddy and I'll help you. But the moment you start making money, the moment you take my work and monetize it, I want paid on it. So will the people that we're working with. I help people out. Well, just like Trump has done. You know, he's not taking a check as president. Why? He doesn't need it. So I will never take a paycheck from CramerSez. I'm unlike any of these other influencers. I'm trying to build something that's bigger than just me, something that outlasts me, something that can go on forever, giving truth and news with a standard that is so high. Not this bullshit. You see what happened with this Pete Hegseth bullshit over the last few days? This is the deep state in action, folks. And the mainstream media will not tell you what's really going on. Even Fox News, OAN, and Newsmax, they are not brave enough. Why? They're advertisers. Their advertisers don't want you knowing what's going on, so you don't know what's going on. And that's why doing what we're doing right now, while we still have Trump in office, while we can build this base, a base big enough that in the event that Democrats take over in 2028 or in 32, think about that, man. We're getting out there now. Just 8 years away. Think about it. What would they do? Well, Eric Swalwell said, given the opportunity, if, the Democrats take the House back in 2026, they're going to impeach Trump. Jamie Raskin went a little bit further, and he said that, yes, we're going to come after those who supported Trump and gave him aid. Is that you? I know it's me. So this is also kind of self-preservation, folks. You want your life to go that it is. For those of you who think that it can't get worse, you don't know how bad it can get. We haven't seen worse yet. We're not seeing food lines in this nation. They said we were going to, with shutting down SNAP, that these kids were going to starve. I didn't see any food lines. Did you? No, it can get worse. So if you're interested in helping us, if you want to know more about what we're doing, get over to the CramerSez Project and take a look. We need help. If you're a graphic designer, if you're a web developer, and you don't have to do it on a daily basis. It's not a daily job, but we need help. Certain things need to be done. There will be certain things on a daily basis that will need to be done on a daily basis. And when we start charging a fee for what we're doing, those people will be paid first. The people that are working on a daily basis. And then down, we'll tier it out. We've got a building. We've got the gear. I've got $500,000 in gear sitting, waiting for the next step. We're ready to go, folks. So get over to the CramerSezProject.com, see what we're doing. If you can help, let us know. If you are a documentarian, if you're an influencer like I am, and you produce a show on a regular basis, we want to take a look at it, see if it fits what we're doing. If it does, and you're revealing truth, not just regurgitating what you're hearing here and there, if you're actually doing investigative news, we want to get into it with you. We want to dig in. And we will give you a home and a base to give all of your information to everybody. Because this isn't mine, folks. It's not. Everything that I've seen, the 500,000 followers across the platforms, that's not mine. Doesn't belong to me. There's a reason why the audience has been built, and that reason is evident that we've got to preserve this nation, and we do it from a grassroots standpoint. These motherfuckers aren't going to do it. Our congressmen and our senators, our mayors and everybody else, they're not going to protect you, and they will not give you the truth. We know, because if they wanted to, they'd already be doing it. We have to fight for every inch of truth, and then all the time we're being told that we're the problem. Well, I'm done with it. I don't know about you. So get your butt over to the CramerSezProject.com. If you can help us out, we'd appreciate it. And we're going to get into this. I don't know if you saw the story today. Luqman Khan. He's this guy out of Pakistan that they caught. We'll be talking about his story and more coming up next.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
Global news with local views.
CramerSez returns after this message from our partners.
To learn more about the CramerSez Project, our mission, and how you can become a part of it, please visit thecramersezproject.com.
The price of plastic is going up, way up.
It costs more for everything they want to do. It doesn't make any economic sense.
And no, it's not because of Trump's tariffs or the wars around the globe. It's because corporations like Walmart and Colgate have swallowed the left's recycling fairy tale, hook, line, and sinker.
I'm Paul Chesser, director of the National Legal and Policy Center's Corporate Integrity Project.
At this year's shareholder meetings, the National Legal and Policy Center decided to do something radical, like saying the quiet part out loud.
We're bringing these proposals to bring truth to where there's been a lot of lies and light where there's been a lot of darkness.
So what exactly is the left's big lie? That endlessly recycling plastics is sustainable, magical, and saves the planet. Now, here's the truth.
Companies like Walmart and Colgate are following a playbook by the environmental left who believe that there's an infinitely circular economy that can be created by endlessly recycling plastics.
Spoiler! The left's magical circular recycling economy is actually a black hole that swallows big profits and spits out higher prices.
It costs more for everything they want to do. It doesn't make any economic sense. Forcing recycling into the whole process of plastic packaging is bad for the consumers, it's bad for the shareholders, and it's bad for the planet.
Logic isn't what these companies are after. They want praise from activist investors and ESG cultists. Meanwhile, real shareholders like the NLPC are left to clean up the mess.
The political left have driven these corporations leftward on the recycling issue and specifically with plastics packaging.
The NLPC proposed a revolutionary idea. Use science and economics before you blow millions on virtue signaling. Genius, right?
We are calling for an injection of truth and objective scientific and economic analysis that can be considered seriously and drive down costs as opposed to driving up costs that these shareholder proposals from the left have brought in.
And what's the goal? Simple. Lower costs, fewer emissions, and actual results. Not glossy brochures full of woke buzzwords and mythical outcomes.
It's unrealistic, and so our proposal calls for truth in recycling in their policies. That will help reduce the cost of their plastic packaging. It reduces the weight, it lowers emissions, and it does actual environmental improvement by having a real scientific and economic analysis rather than a propaganda approach to plastics policies.
You'd think that would be obvious, but in today's ESG boardrooms, common sense is considered more dangerous than toxic waste.
We act on behalf of ourselves and our fellow shareholders to put true economics and scientific research in all the policies that corporations institute. That improves shareholder return.
And that wraps up this episode of the NLPC Report. For more information or to get in-depth reporting on this story and more, please visit the National Legal and Policy Center at nlpc.org.
You're watching CramerSez.
Woo! It is Wednesday, hump day. Welcome to the show. My name is Kramer. This is the CramerSez Project. Glad to have you here. Hey, back on November 24th of this year in Wilmington, Delaware, Luckman Khan. I say it that way because I was learning how to say the name, and Grok kept saying that I was saying it wrong. And when I threw a lot of phlegm in the back of my throat, she comes on and she goes, "Perfect, you said it perfect." So it's Luckman Khan. A Delaware student was stopped by police during an after-hours property check in Canby Park West. Khan is a legal immigrant from Pakistan, but again, one of the usual suspects. Court documents reveal that Khan was asked to subsequently refused to exit his vehicle. Let's go ahead. No, that's over here. That's the wrong one. There we go. This is Khan here. This guy from Pakistan was all pissed off at something. Court documents reveal that Khan was asked and subsequently refused to exit the vehicle, was taken into custody, and during a search of his vehicle, officers found a .357 caliber Glock handgun loaded with 27 rounds. Wow. That's a lot of bullets, right? It gets worse. In a handwritten notebook, Khan discussed additional weapons and firearms, how they could be used in an attack, and how law enforcement detection could be avoided once an attack was carried out. The notebook referenced a member of the University of Delaware's police department by name and included a layout of a building with entry and exit points under which the words UD Police Station were printed. According to the Daily News, in addition to mentioning a UDP police officer by name, investigators shared that the notebook included writings about, shocker, martyrdom. If you've been listening to the podcast, My Lives, for the last few months, I've been saying that this right here is the single biggest threat that this nation faces. Last week, two National Guard members were shot by a member of this same organization. Oh, what's their organization? It's Muslims, folks. The single biggest threat in our nation. It's not going to stop. You better get used to it, because they're going to use everything they can against you. They're going to call you an Islamophobe and all that stuff. As they're shooting you in the streets, they're going to say that you're the problem. Let's see here. The following day, the Bureau, that's the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation and NCCPD executed a search warrant at Khan's Wilmington residence and rediscovered a Glock 19 9mm handgun equipped with an illegal machine gun conversion device. He had it all going on. Authorities also found a .556 rifle, an AR, it's basically an AR-15 with a scope and a red dot sight, 11 more extended magazines, hollow point rounds, and a 2-plate tactical vest equipped with a single ballistic plate. Now, I don't know if you know anything about guns, and I don't know if you know anything about what you need to make an attack, but if you're going to make a terrorist attack, those are all the things that you need. That's like the starter kit for terrorism. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Folks, it's not going to get better. The message that I have, I'm not the Glenn Beck type. He'll give you bad news and he'll shake his head, but he's going to go off to his $1 million home and forget about you for a while and come back and do his show, and everybody's going to make him put on his cardigan sweater and walk around. He's not upset enough, folks. He's been making this money. He is used to his lifestyle. The status quo is not going to change for Glenn Beck and others like him. It will for you. It will for me. You see, I'm a millionaire. He's a multimillionaire. There is a big difference. And if I'm telling you that I got this kind of money and I'm concerned, I'm telling you, folks, you should be too. I keep my head on a swivel. We went to Menards tonight in Lebanon, Indiana, walked into the store, got our stuff, and was walking out. And as we're walking out, there's a gentleman that is coming up behind a pole, and he's got his hand down in his jacket. Now, he could be reaching for gloves or putting gloves away. I don't know. It's cold outside. That's possible. But I've got an eye on him. As soon as I saw what he was doing and where he's got his hands, my hand went back to my gun. That's the world we live in. I didn't used to live in that world, folks. We didn't used to live in this world. This is the world that liberal ideology, wokeism, and weak Republicans, rhinos, have gotten us into. Weak men got us here. Those of us who are not weak men are starting to stand, saying, hey, this is bullshit. The problem is I'm 60 years old. Somebody asked me the other day, he says, when are you going to a protest? I'm not going to a protest. I'm 60 years old. See, I still want to throw down, right? You get up in my face, you start your shit with me, I'm going to knock your block off. You go to jail. I'll take the charge. I don't care. Men like myself that are coming out of the woodwork now saying, you know what, I've been busy creating a life for me and my family. They've destroyed that. I can't trust anything that I see on media. There's nothing on TV or in the movies to watch. Why would I even go on living? We found out that our sports are corrupt. They're betting and making all kinds of money on games, and you think that everything is honest and fair, and you're finding out that everything is rigged. That's why when Trump said it, and everybody, no, it's not, we were all blind. Now that you've had a taste of what they've revealed, what's your position? Do you think that the status quo we have right now is sustainable? And more importantly, do you want to sustain it? Why would we want to sustain this? We don't. We want to go back. I've told friends time and time again, I would love to go back to 2019, the fall of 2019. I was at the peak. I had never made so much money in my life. Now, money isn't the end-all, be-all. We all know that. Money doesn't make you happy, but money can buy you a Ski-Doo, and nobody's unhappy on a Ski-Doo. My point is, folks, is that when they came in, and I think Tucker Carlson put it best, he says, they tell us what we can and can't say, and we can't trust our elections. What option have they left us? And now we've got men from around the planet coming to our shores trying to attack us, trying to kill us. And we're told by our leaders that we need to sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up, and do as we're told. We're the problem. Folks, this is my nation. I am a nationalist. I love this country. I love everybody in it, except the people who cause problems. I've got black nationalist friends, Hispanic nationalist friends, Asian nationalist friends. That's their heritage. That's not who they are. Do you know who they are? They're Americans. They're not hyphenated. They are 100% American with that heritage. That's where they came from. That's where their families came from. But they are 100% American. I came from Western Europe, folks. I don't know where the fuck we came from. We're a mutt. That's what the DNA testing showed me. You could be from here, 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 and here. It's everywhere. Those places, any of those countries, Ireland, Scotland, Great Britain, France, Western Europe, any of those countries that are listed as to where I could possibly have come from, where my DNA originated from, they go to war tomorrow. Tough titties. Couldn't give two fucks. We're at war right now. That's why I'm concerned. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing on a nightly basis. Aren't you concerned? I know. Everybody's doing the same thing too, aren't they? Everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody wants more money, more money, more money. Send me this, buy this, here's our new protein pack, here's this. This will save you in the event of a world holocaust or civil war, revolution. I'm not selling you anything, folks. I'm just trying to give truth. I don't have anything other than that. And the truth is that based on the chatter that we're hearing across the nation, the intelligence officials that I'm talking to, what they're saying is very clear. It's only going to get worse. They're concerned. They're telling their families, keep your head on a swivel when you go out. Don't have your fucking hand like this in front of your face all throughout the store. You keep an eye on these motherfuckers. Why? They've done it once. They'll do it again. They've told us. Have you seen the videos? The moment that Mamdani won in New York City as the mayor of that city, the Muslims all of a sudden, we've been given the ability to speak exactly how we really feel. And they went out into their front yards and started saber rattling. Taking those big fucking Arab swords and raising them in the air. They do that. You know why they do that? Because in the old days, you saber rattled to let the other side know you were getting ready to charge. Third attack from a Muslim Middle Eastern assailant in the last 3 weeks. Third attack. You think this is going to get better? No, it's going to get worse. Now, let me break down what the consensus is at this point, for the most part, of how this is going to probably transpire. If you know your history, Nazis and the Muslims ganged up in World War II. Why? Well, they had the same agenda. They wanted to get rid of those Jews. Nothing's changed, folks. The same people are aligning again. The same ideologies are aligning again. They've rebranded. They call themselves something different today. But they've done the exact same thing. Let me give you an example. The Democrats had the KKK. When that was made poo-poo and you couldn't be a part of that anymore, to be a part of a modern culture, civilization, you had to get out of these hate groups. So they turned on their own hate group. The Democrat Party says, oh, the KKK is bad, 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 bad. But I am part of Antifa. What's changed? The cloak? The hood? You still got a uniform, you have to wear all black, and you have to cover your face. Why is that? Why is it that so many of the Democrats that are out there belong to groups where you cover your face to when you take your protest to the street? Aren't you proud of what you're protesting for? As an American citizen, if I take to the streets, I'm proud to be out there. I'm exercising my democracy. Isn't that what they're always saying? Why are you got your face covered? Why are you so ashamed? Because you know what you're going to do, and you know that you're not just an ideology. You're more than that. Just like the Muslims. Islam and the Muslim faith is incompatible with the U.S. Constitution. It's incompatible with the American way of life. It's incompatible with the American dream. Imagine some little girl who wants to someday dream of being this or that. When was the last time you saw the Muslim diving team, female diving team? What about the Muslim, female, any sport where you've got a woman scantily clad from an Islamic nation? Well, where do you see that in the Olympics? You don't. They get their way, folks. This is what they tell you. They take over the entire world. They want a global caliphate. They want to control everything. That means you, your kids, your girls, they'll be wearing a burqa. They're telling you what they're going to do, and when powerful people tell you what they're going to do, more importantly, when people who have no problem killing you, raping you, and cutting your fucking head off, when they tell you that, you should listen. We'll be right back.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
Global news with local views.
From the halls of Congress
Across the nation.
and around the globe.
You're getting the latest news and conservative views.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
Global news with local views.
CramerSez returns after this message from our partners.
They lied about it. They tried to hide it.
It was 100% unconstitutional. That's what we were saying in 2024.
I could have sworn that yesterday we learned that the FBI tapped my phone.
And today the NLPC has been vindicated by Senator Grassley's document dump, revealing Jack Smith illegally and unconstitutionally spied on American citizens.
Jack Smith spied on members of the United States Senate. What is this, East Germany?
Grassley's document dump has revealed that Jack Smith's team illegally seized call logs from Ron Johnson, Lindsey Graham, Mike Lee, and Josh Hawley in the unconstitutional 2023 Arctic Frost Probe.
From the outset, we said Jack Smith's appointment was unconstitutional. A federal judge vindicated that view. Now we see the connection between unconstitutional prosecutions and illegal evidence gathering.
The NLPC has been on top of this story from the beginning. Follow or subscribe to the NLPC on this platform for more. Or visit the National Legal and Policy Center at nlpc.org.
To learn more about the CramerSez Project, our mission, and how you can become a part of it, please visit thecramersezproject.com.
You're watching CramerSez.
Welcome back. My name is Kramer. This is the CramerSez Project. It is Wednesday. Hump Day. I love it. Hey, our special guest tonight, we've got one more segment after this, is Luke Perlott. He's the Associate Director of the Corporate Integrity Project with the NLPC, the National Legal and Policy Center. We'll be talking to him about a very boring subject that you're going to be very excited about at the end of it. Ever heard of investor activism? Boring stuff. But it affects your life on a daily basis. Luke and his group, NLP, they do that. And he's going to tell us about some exciting stuff that's coming up. More importantly, some scary stuff that you, as a Microsoft shareholder, if you are, should be voting, and how you should vote on Friday at the annual meeting. Anyway, when we talk, I know it sounds boring right now, but I wouldn't give you boring stuff. There's a reason why I'm telling you and talking to Luke. I want you to understand why he does his job. Once you understand why he does his job, your eyes are open. You go, oh, I want to know more about that. Let's look at what's going on in Chicago. Have you seen what's going on with the mayor in Chicago? Take a look at this.
I'm not going to entertain, because the whole premise of everything that you bring up is not only disgusting and racist.
Really?
It does no facts to it.
So the attack on Bethany McGee, you think she deserved that?
Mayor Johnson, hundreds of thousands of people have reached out to me expressing outrage at your cold, heartless response to Bethany McGee's the vicious attack on her, calling it an isolated incident.
Okay, so let's jump in on this. For those of you who don't know who the Bethany McGee is, she is the young lady who was riding on the subway when a felon with 70-some convictions, been in jail several times, came up behind her and poured fluid on her and lit her on fire. She's fighting for her life. The reason I'm playing this is because when I talk to you guys about it's only going to get worse, I want you to understand that the people that we've elected in a lot of cases around the nation to fix our problems, right? Or at the very least, manage them. Don't let them get any worse. That's your mandate. Don't let it get any worse. I know it's bad, but just don't let it get any worse. I want you to understand how not only the mayor, but everybody on the dais, how they started attacking the question and the questioner. Young lady was burned up. The mayor shoved it off. Oh, it's just one of those crazy incidents. And so this reporter here, he's pressuring the mayor, and listen to how the mayor diverts. And the question is, when you listen to this, ask yourself, is he really working for me? Is he working for me? Or is he working for somebody else? Because it doesn't sound like he's working for me, the people. It sounds like he's protecting somebody else. Listen.
When a young woman is set on fire on Chicago's public transportation, that coupled with your statement that it's a sickness to incarcerate people, violent repeat offenders who, quote, in your own words, look like you.
So if you know the story about what's going on in Chicago, the mayor said that it's a sin to lock people up. It's better to rehabilitate them, help them, give them an opportunity, especially if they look like him. That's racism, folks. When you say specifically, I'm gonna help these people out here that look like me, what if I did that? What if I became president of the United States and I said, listen, everybody, I know you all voted for me, but I'm only going to help the whiteys. Those are the only people I'm helping. It's the only people I'm concerned about. How do you think that would play in the media? Even WGN gets in on it here in a minute. Listen to this dais. Go ahead.
People find that absolutely outrageous. And I've had many black and brown people reach out to me and say that had it been someone that you care about, had it been someone that you love, you would have been outraged by that attack. What do you say to those people, Mr. Mayor?
Well, first of all, what I've said from the very beginning is that this was a tragedy, and this woman is fighting for her life. And as I've said repeatedly from a question that was raised earlier, that this, that individuals that clearly have a violent past, as well as mental health issues, should not be on the streets of Chicago.
70 plus arrests.
And that was a failure and a breakdown in our.
So we have a failure here. The system broke down. No culpability, no accountability. Just move on. We'll try to do better. Meanwhile, you've got a young lady fighting for her life with burns over almost her entire body.
System. And it's incumbent upon all of us to continue to support this family and continue to pray for her. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. And again, as tragic as this is, it is a reminder of how much work we still have to do.
Business leaders have reached out to me. They say that they don't trust you, they don't trust your budget, they don't obviously trust the head tax.
So I'm going to jump in here real quick, and it's real important to understand what he's saying here. So this reporter is a citizen reporter doing exactly what I'm doing. He's going down there and talking to the mayor, getting in the business, reporting it. He's a journalist. That's what journalism is. You don't have to go to college to be a journalist. If you've got the ability to ask questions and then say, I asked this guy this question, this is what he said, and I asked this guy this question, this is what he said, somebody has to be the liar here because these two things are opposite. That's what journalism is. It's just telling, it's gossip. That's all it is. It's a fancy word for gossip. I heard that she said this. Well, the big difference between gossip and journalism is that gossip has no standards. Journalism has standards. That's what separates it. Otherwise, it would just be gossip. Now, in the old days, when I was taught journalism, is that you come in and you give the name, You give the age, you give the address of the person, where they're from, their description, John Smith, white male, such and such address. That's the way it was in the old days. They don't do that anymore. And these new guys, these new kids, these younger people, they don't know what the standards are. So as this reporter starts to ask serious questions, what does the mayor and his staff do? They attack him. They go after the weirdest fight. We don't have to answer your questions because what you're telling us is bullshit. There's no way that you could talk to hundreds of thousands of people a day. I do. Every day. Every day this podcast goes out, every time I do a live, hundreds of thousands of people down the road will have viewed what I watched or what I said. So yeah, on a daily basis. Now that's not bragging. That's just a fact. And if you go into the comments, millions and millions of comments. Now, what I do is I read through the comments, right? And when I say that I read through when I tell people I don't go through the comments to find out people pissed off at me, I see it, and I think it's funny. I'm looking for people who have great comments, great insights, things that maybe even I missed, right? It's funny, my wife, she's not in it every day. And every once in a while, she'll have an insight that I didn't even think about it from that point. That's what I go in and do that for. So yes, hundreds of thousands of opinions on a daily basis I go through. I look through my comments on a regular basis. What is new? He's not doing anything different. And what they're going to do is they're going to start doing what they used to do on the playground. They're going to start mocking him and making fun of him like he doesn't have any authority. He has no right to be there. Folks, he's another citizen like they are. They have no power above him. They are not better than him. They are equals. We're all equals here. But they're taking the position that because they're behind that dais and he's got his phone and a microphone out there, he doesn't have the big WGN camera. That somehow he doesn't have the authority. He doesn't have, they don't have to answer his questions. Listen.
They point to the fact that you don't own and operate a business. You don't know what it's like to actually employ anyone. That your policies, in fact, this is absolutely insane.
By the way, you're going to want to keep that in mind because the mayor's going to come back later and say, oh, yeah. I employ tons of people. He doesn't. We do.
Policy of trying to limit the number of people attending a Kris Kringle market, a Christmas market, that is directly across the street from City Hall.
Your question is like bad coleslaw. Like this is like raisins and coleslaw and a bunch of stuff.
Is that your budget? Is that your financial analysis? Is that your financial analysis?
Ask the specific question.
Yeah, the question is simply this. Business leaders who actually know something about a budget, actually know something about...
Here we go.
Still not a question.
Still not a question.
Owning and operating a business.
I'm having a tough time trusting and believing you. You don't talk to that many people.
Here we go.
There's just no way.
People reach out to me all the time. They're outraged.
You don't talk to that many people. There's just no way. You talk.
So he's telling this gentleman that his opinion doesn't matter because he doesn't talk to that man. He's trying to disqualify him. He's trying to find something to wedge in some doubt with everybody else. Folks, as I've been telling you from the very beginning, if there's anything that I know, it's bullies. And this is what they do. When you've got them cornered, they're going to find every angle possible to make you look bad. And I didn't have anything to do with it. And you're the problem. Why are you getting so angry? He goes on. Listen to
the black, brown people and business leaders, and you can't come up with a simple question.
All day, every day. At William J. Kelly. Check it out.
Come up with a simple question.
Be my guest. ReporterWilliamJKelly.com. Take a look. Take a look for yourself.
Well, at 2.7 million people population in the city of Chicago, if you talk to hundreds of thousands of them, you are talking to what, 20, 30, 40% of the city population?
On a regular basis?
Any news organization in here would dream of having that kind of interaction with the...
They would. That's what you don't understand, you lesbian bitch cunt. I'm so tired. I've lost the control, the ability to control what I actually think of these fucking losers. I don't know if she's a lesbian. I don't know that. I'm just assuming it. They have a look. They let you know, right? It's not a stereotype. It's the haircut. It's the attitude. Oh, you're talking to 20% of the population of this metro. WGN over here would just love to have that kind of audience. Yeah, they would. They don't have that. Media influencers like me and others. Rogan, I mean, I'm in the low trenches down here, right? The guys at the top, they daily beat out CNN, ABC, and all of the news outlets on a daily basis with viewership, total viewership, right? Not just viewership for this show or that show, total viewership all day long. If you look at what Joe Rogan, the views that he gets on a daily basis versus what CNN gets for all day. Keep in mind, he's only doing one podcast a day. It's a 3-hour podcast. His 3 hours are seen by more people than all the people that watch CNN, MSNBC, and I think it was, it was MS Now, CNN, MSNBC, and there's one other one. I can't remember what it is. There's 3 of them. Joe Rogan beats out 3 networks that are broadcasting 24/7 a day. More people listen to us. We are the media. So when this idiot says this question, asks this question, you've got a large chunk of the audience of the state, of the city. Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're scaring the shit out of you now. Because we can do what the networks can do, and better. And we don't hide the truth. We're trying to do just the opposite. In fact, we're asking you right now, what are you doing? You're trying to argue from a position of authority that we have no merit in our questions or in our statements because, well, we can't possibly be what we say we are. This is how out of touch these people are. The bubble that these people live in is so fucking thick and so fucking big. It amazes me that they're able to live. Get anything done on a daily basis. She continues.
Yeah, your ratings are so substantial. Oh my gosh, I'm surprised you're here with just that limited equipment.
There we go. Did you hear that? I'm surprised that you're here with just that limited equipment. Does this sound like what you remember, 8 and 9-year-olds arguing on a playground? Just listen to it. Listen to the logic and how they dance around and how they join in. This is what I call a lackey. This is the bully's aide. She will always come. They will always come to the bully's assistant when the bully has done something that they need help with. You see, she spoke up because she saw that the mayor was floundering. And she jumped on. The mayor went after this guy and said, I don't even think that you have this many followers. Oh, yeah, that's impossible. He can't have that many. There's no way that many people listen to him. Bullshit. Bullshit. 5 million a month. 5 million a month. That's the number of views that I get on a regular basis. 5 million a month. Do the math. It's 1.25 a week. I can guarantee you that and by the way, my content reaches around the world. That's not bragging. That's a statement of fact. That these people do not understand the reach that the American people, that average everyday citizens have today. It's the bubble they live in, folks. They're highly educated, but some of the stupidest people you ever meet. She continues.
Right. Because there's actually limited equipment that you are operating with right now. Let me just get to your question. I think I know what you're asking.
My question is, whether or not, and by the way, the people who interact with me agree with me. They don't agree with you. Take a look at the comments.
We got it.
But the fact of the matter is simply this, that the fact that you think that a Christmas market across the street from City Hall is more a threat to public safety than violent black teenagers running down State Street shooting people at a Christmas tree lighting shows your priorities. What do you say to those people, citizens, black, brown, business leaders? What do you say to those people?
Got it.
Yeah. That if they get a phone call from you or they get an interaction with you, they should avoid you. I'm not going to entertain because the whole premise.
Do you hear that? Does that sound like a mayor to you? Or does that sound like a 9-year-old on the playground? I'm going to tell everybody in the neighborhood not to pay attention to you. Do you get this? Folks, do you think that this is going to get any better in this nation? We cannot continue down this path. Lesser men and lesser women are ruining your life, and you're allowing it to happen by your silence. You're not part of the solution. My dad said he was a minister, and he said on multiple occasions the hardest sermon to preach is when you're telling the congregation they're not living up to the standards they should be living up to. my job, my mission is to light a fucking fire underneath your tail. And if that doesn't make you angry enough, well, what am I going to do about it? What am I going to do? Folks, I'm just one person. You're sitting there right now watching a phone or watching a laptop or watching me on some device. I'm doing it. Now, I don't think that we all have to do this. Everybody's got the special way, but if you're not involved locally, and if you think that somebody else is going to stand up and defend your freedoms harder than you would, that they care more about your freedoms than you do, you're an idiot. And you better get involved. Now, D.C. is not the place for you to go. I keep saying this. D.C. is a lost cause. Home is going to cure D.C. D.C. is lost. It's a machine there. And that machine has nothing to do with your daily life. Nothing. They don't care about you. They don't think about you. What you've got to realize is that home is where it is, and you can make a change at home. Especially those of you in small cities, small towns. You can make a much bigger impact immediately in your community than you can in a large city. It takes more in a large city. But home, in small towns, small communities, small counties, if you're not going to the county council meeting and finding out how they're spending your money, then you're an idiot. If you're not reading the reports, you're an idiot. Don't complain to me if you don't know where your money's going. The LEAP project in Boone County, Indiana. It's happening all over the country, same kind of thing, big money coming in, and they're making the residents pay for all the infrastructure. All of a sudden, we're going to give all these jobs to everybody, but before those jobs come in, we need streets, and we need pavement, and we need the sewers, and we need water, and all. And you guys, the deal we worked is that you guys are going to pay for that for them. They don't have to build that. You guys have to pay for it. So your water bill, your electric bill, everything's going up. You seen it happen? It's because they're not concerned, folks, about you. They're only concerned about themselves. They don't care if you make it or not. How do I know? Well, their actions speak louder than anything else. You can tell me that you're fighting for me all day long, but I saw what happened in COVID, and not one of you motherfuckers stood up. None of you. You got your shot, put your mask on, and kept your mouth shut. We're done. We're moving forward. That's what the CramerSez project is about. And folks, it's about getting truth out there. You've got this gentleman here going in and talking to the mayor, and the mayor tells him, like a 9-year-old on the playground, I'm going to tell people not to talk to you. You got cooties. They're not going to change unless you demand change. And the only way that that happens is that you make your voice heard. Get down there. Go to your city council meeting. Take your phone. You have the right to go. They can't bar you. This is America, folks. You want rights, you want your freedoms, you got to go defend them. You got to do that. Nobody else is going to do it for you. This gentleman that is going down to the... He's had a ton of videos on social media. I'm going to try and get him on the program. But he's doing the hard thing. He's asking the hard questions. He's standing there nose to nose with these people. Now, again, you probably don't have time to do that on a daily basis. That's what the CramerSez project is about. We're trying to bring that to you. We're going out and finding it and bringing it to you so you can do it. But folks, I don't, even if you start paying me $1 million a year to do what I'm doing right now, I'd still be preaching and moaning at you to go out in the streets and do the exact same thing. Well, Kramer, we'll pay you not to say that. That's why we're in the situation we're in. You refuse to hold yourself accountable. You hold everybody else accountable. Everybody else gets in trouble. Everybody else has done something wrong. You have culpability too. It's called getting involved. And if you don't get involved, nothing's going to change. Well, how am I going to change it? You know what happens? I'll give you an idea. Went to a gentleman meeting here right after Charlie Kirk's assassination, and the group, there was a reason I met with the group. I wanted to go find out certain things about them. And so when I found out what they were interested in, it was the status quo. They just want to change laws and get people elected and do the same thing. That's not what I was interested in. What I wanted to find out is the men in this room that were concerned about what's going to happen next, and having people in my community that I can count on. They're not going to do that. They're going to do the status quo. They don't see the future. They think that they're going to get somebody elected in 2 or 4 or 6 years. They think they have the time to wait. I don't think we do. Now, the reason I tell you that is because, folks, I pick and choose the most important things to get done on a daily basis. Hopefully everybody else does the same thing. But when I plan out what we're looking at, and I see, I told a friend this the other day, I said, I see down the road conflict, and I'm not sure if we're going to have enough time to get this off the ground. And there's potential. We get it off the ground, and it doesn't even matter. Everything goes dark anyway. My friend asked me, why are you so negative all the time? I go, because that's how you find out what you need to do to be prepared for what these fuckers have got up their sleeve next for us. I look at the news on a daily basis. Hopefully you do too. Do you see it getting better? Did you read the headlines today? You see that we've got congressional members now calling for the military to pull a coup against Trump? Mm-hmm. We'll be talking about that tomorrow night. I'm going to get stuff together for that. I'm talking to an attorney tomorrow, so I want him to explain what is actually going on here and what rights Trump does have and what rights Trump doesn't have, and get an attorney in on it, right? Because I want to get down to the truth. We'll do that tomorrow night. In the meantime, our next, we're going to wrap things up with Luke Perlott. Luke Perlott is the Associate Director of the Corporate Integrity Project at the National Legal and Policy Center. And what they do is they try to hold people accountable, and they use investor activism. It sounds boring, and when you look at it on paper, it is, but I've seen the results, and they're exciting. We'll talk about those next with Luke Perlott, next on the CramerSez Project.
The CramerSez Project will return
after this important message.
Introducing Tusk.
With Tusk, you get uncensored news and secure browsing,
all while protecting your privacy.
Choose the news you trust and take control of your internet.
Join the free speech revolution with Tusk.
Download Tusk today at tuskbrowser.com.
Did you know the Biden administration gave your tax dollars to illegal aliens so they could afford to lobby Congress to go easy on illegal immigration?
That's not the way I'd put it, but it's basically accurate.
New questions are swirling around a Soros-funded nonprofit that claims to support immigrant rights, but may be violating federal tax law. Alianza Americas received millions of taxpayer dollars from the Biden administration. Now the group stands accused of using those funds to lobby Congress to expand protections for illegal immigrants.
Well, we caught them. The name of the group is Alianza Americas, and it's an open borders group. They were illegally lobbying Congress, trying to protect illegal aliens from having to leave the country under something called temporary protected status. They received taxpayer money, millions of dollars from the Department of Health and Human Services. They also receive quite a lot of money from the Open Society Foundations. That's George Soros's foundations. Over the last couple weeks, they've been pouring kerosene on the flames out in Los Angeles, calling President Trump an authoritarian and alleging that the law enforcement personnel have been engaged in violent attacks on peaceful protesters, when we know it's quite the opposite. This group has broken the law. On their annual tax return, they say they never lobbied Congress, but we know that they have. We have the proof, and we've presented it to the Internal Revenue Service, and we hope and believe the IRS should act on them and review the tax status of this open borders group.
It's for these reasons the National Legal and Policy Center has filed 2 complaints with the IRS, alleging the group broke the rules that govern tax-exempt status and should, for that reason, lose all taxpayer funding. So, what are your thoughts? Do you really want your tax dollars handed over to illegals so they can afford to lobby your elected officials? You know, to be more lenient when it comes to their illegal immigration status?
I wouldn't have put it exactly that way, but unfortunately, it is accurate.
Let us know what you think in the comments, and visit nlpc.org for more information on this story and more.
To learn more about the CramerSez Project, our mission, and how you can become a part of it,
please visit thecramersezproject.com.
You're watching CramerSez.
Welcome back to the show. My name is Kramer. This is the CramerSez Project. It is, what is it? Today's Wednesday, right? Yeah, today's Wednesday. Our special guest tonight on the show is Luke Perlott. Luke Perlott is the Associate Director of the NLPC's Corporate Integrity Project. You're probably asking yourself, what the hell is that? What is that all about, and why do I care? Well, Luke's here to tell us. Luke, welcome to the show.
How you doing?
Great. How are you doing? First of all, The NLPC is a watchdog group out of D.C. We've been informing people on my show about them for a while, but you're actually with the program. So explain to us what the NLPC's investor activism actions are. What are you doing there, and why should I care?
Yeah, politics gets all the attention when you talk about influencing the policies that we adopt as a society, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. You have to look at these cultural institutions, like these major corporations, as basically being political activists themselves. Certainly political actors. I mean, if you're engaging in ESG, if you are pro climate change, if you're pro DEI, fundamentally that company is now politicized. And as investors in those companies, we have a say. We don't have to stand by and just get used to DEI, get used to woke corporate trainings, get used to high gas prices because we're not allowed to drill for oil and gas here in the U.S. We don't have to get used to that. We're investors. We have power. We can be activists, just like you see in the political sphere. We can do that too, and that's what we do at NLPC. We're really one of the first organizations on the right to take this tool, which has long been used by the left. That's partly why ESG and DEI and kind of these companies have become so woke, because the left is really good at this, at using their investments to basically achieve their political goals outside of the traditional, Congress, presidency, et cetera. And the right's never really done that. And in the last several years, we've really started to catch up. And it really has created a huge difference. That's why we're seeing walkbacks in DEI. That's why we're seeing walkbacks in ESG. That's why we're seeing gas prices come down, because big oil companies like Exxon are starting to drill again. And so it's a tool that the right has kind of underutilized for a long time, but now we're really putting it to great use.
Well, let's look at this proposal that you've got. It's interesting that most people don't realize that the big changes that they see in their life, to your point, happen in an incremental ways, right? A little freedom here, a little freedom there. Walk us through this proposal and what you're asking the shareholders to do.
Yeah, well, we want shareholders to vote for this proposal. So if you're a shareholder in Microsoft, you can vote. And unfortunately, the way the system works is if you don't vote, it's counted as a no. So when regular investors, regular Microsoft shareholders are complacent, the company gets its way. And what does the company want? It wants to collect your data, potentially improperly, so that it can use it to train its AI models. That could include your medical records they scrape off the internet, social media, data you gave to Microsoft for a different project that you didn't expect to be used to train AI, and it is. And so we really want, what we're asking is Microsoft to increase their disclosure. We don't want that to be this black box where what is this information you're taking? Where is it coming from? We want Microsoft to be kind of forced to be transparent. And ultimately what we want is for them to implement safeguards. And as Microsoft shareholders, we also think there's a lot of money to be made here, because you look at the major AI players, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Apple, OpenAI, Anthropic, none of them have really established themselves as the pro-privacy AI. It's all kind of this Big Brother-esque, we are gobbling up data at rates never seen before in human history to build these models. I mean, some of them talking about these models eventually becoming superhuman intelligence that replaces humans and maybe even replaces God. So it's insane. And so I think if one of these companies were to come out and say, no, actually, we're going to go the opposite direction. This is going to be the AI that is going to give you all the benefits you want. You can ask it questions. It'll write your papers for you. It'll do your work for you. It's going to make all these companies more productive. There's tons of money to be made there if one of these companies is willing to say, we're going to be the ethical player in this space. Potentially, I mean, you're talking trillions of dollars of market cap that could potentially be added to a company. So not only is it something that societally, I think we should be, over the next couple of years, maybe this could be the most important issue, is AI data. You can't put the genie back in the bottle once these kind of Big Brother platforms have been created. But if someone were to come out and stake out this position, it could not only be kind of the ethical choice, but also potentially very profitable.
In your articles you're writing at the NLPC, you have brought up the risk that OpenAI and the partnership with with Microsoft is playing right here. Go into that. Why is the NLPC so concerned about this relationship?
Because OpenAI has to this point been the leader in consumer-facing generative AI. So products that everyday people use, right? I mean, ChatGPT has, I think, 800 million users worldwide. It was the fastest product ever to 100 million users. And that has made them one of the most important organizations in the world. I mean, up there with governments as far as the power and influence that they are going to be able to exercise over the next couple of years. And likewise, Microsoft is also one of those companies. I mean, their market cap, I'm not sure exactly what it is right now. It has been at times over $3 trillion.
Yep.
So we're just talking about a scale of an organization that's literally unprecedented in human history. And the amount of reach, the amount of data that they can collect on you, the average consumer, and then what they can do with that to, their goal is to eventually be able to predict, almost predict your future. They know what you're going to buy. They know where you're going to go. They know where you should work.
They've been talking the world that they're creating, Luke. I mean, from the outside, you're more involved with it than I am, but from the outside, it looks like they're trying to create the world of the Minority Report, right? Where they can predict future crime, they can predict future buys. They know exactly what you're going to do. How dangerous is that for us? I mean, if they're watching us every moment of every day and using all of our data, do we ever have any way of getting out from underneath it?
I mean, that remains to be seen. That's what we're trying to address with the proposal. It's a pretty incremental change, if we're being honest. But that's kind of how this type of activism works, going back to your first question, which is that it's a bit, it's the ice cube warming up. 25 degrees, 26 degrees, 27 degrees, the ice cube doesn't melt until you hit 32. Then the ice cube melts all at once. And it looks like you created this big change, but really you were working behind the scenes for a long amount of time. So that's what we're doing right now is just, again, it really, the purpose of this proposal is just to raise awareness. And again, with that partnership with OpenAI, now you combine Microsoft, their enterprise software. I mean, just how many people use Word? How many people use Excel? How many people use, how many people have Xboxes? I mean, now think about all that data feeding into these AI models, right? That's why the relationship is so important, because these AI models are just these all-consuming beasts. And it should concern the average consumer. We've always considered, the CIA and the NSA to be kind of the big brother. We've always kind of considered that type of spying to come from government, but in 2025, it can absolutely come from these private tech companies as well.
Well, the big scary part is that they're monetizing this data and sharing it with the government. In fact, what we're finding time and time again is that these companies are sharing data with the government that the government could not get on their own without a warrant, correct?
That's right. And you have to look at the kind of incestuous relationship between these large companies and the government. Tens of billions of dollars in government contracts for defense, but really to platform all the government agencies. That gives the government a little bit of leverage over these companies. They can say, we want certain loopholes so that we can spy on our citizens. We want you to share certain types of data. And if not, there goes your 10 billion contract, which was basically free. When you're talking about enterprise software, it's basically free to sell. So it's money, it's operating revenue coming straight from taxpayers, going straight to these companies' bottom line. And the implicit threat could be that, you're going to have to be complicit in whatever types of spying, whatever types of data collection we want you to be complicit in.
Well, and that's what we've seen over the last 4 or 5 years. Facebook came forward and said, the Biden administration did force us to do these things against our users. We didn't want to, but they made threats against. It brings up another subject, another big name inside the tech world is Reid Hoffman. You guys are standing against him. You have been for a long time at the NLPC. His reelection to the board of Microsoft, how devastating is that to what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I mean, you have to start with the Epstein connections. He's the one who introduced Epstein to Peter Thiel. And Peter Thiel's been criticized, of course, because he's been a donor, a figure on the right wing. Everyone says he was close to Epstein. Well, you have to look at, who introduced him? And Hoffman even said, I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something along the lines of, he's perverted, but he's very smart, so you should meet him. So he knew, this was 2014, he knew he was perverted. The Wall Street Journal.
Right. Yep.
So that alone, you would think is disqualifying. He's been to the townhouse in New York. I believe he's been to the island. All by itself, with all the drama over Epstein over this year, the idea that, Reid Hoffman can even show his face in public in 2025, that alone is insane. And then you have to look at his left-wing activism. He is, at least he has become, one of those George Soroses that you never hear about.
Right.
But he's moving hundreds of millions of dollars to these far left-wing groups that are
many people don't know,
Luke, quote-unquote protests.
Many people don't know, Luke, that it was Reid Hoffman who funded E. Jean Carroll's case against Donald Trump, the sexual assault case at Bergdorf's. He funded the whole thing. In fact, he started the whole process of getting the law changed in New York so there was a 6-month window that if the statute of limitations on your sexual assault had run out, you had this window to come in. Now, oddly, I don't know if you know this, but oddly, that window opened up, citizens were allowed to come forward, and only one case was ever tried. One. E. Jean Carroll's case. That's the power of Reid Hoffman and these billionaires. How will your proposal expose whether Microsoft is selling out American privacy to the globalist agenda? Is that something that you guys are keeping on the horizon there and keeping an eye on?
100%, because again, these are global companies. They have ties with the U.S. government. They have ties with other governments. They are becoming institutions on the global stage that can rival the power of the government themselves. And so 100%, this isn't just a U.S. issue. This is a global issue. Again, ChatGPT has 800 million users worldwide. It is a global platform that is collecting information on a global customer base for global application. They're not just going to be spying on U.S. citizens. They'll be spying on everybody. And so absolutely demanding greater transparency from Microsoft, which has a pretty significant international shareholder base, by the way, is going to be an issue that affects everybody. We're looking at these companies trying to kind of implement the types of authoritarian control we see in communist China, for example, on a global stage. And that's something we got to be aware of. And that's something we really got to push back on.
I agree 100%. Is Microsoft the worst offender in this field? Are there others that we should be concerned about?
Say that one more time.
I'm sorry. Is Microsoft the worst offender in this area? Are there others that we should be concerned about?
When it comes to data, I mean, Alphabet has always been bad, going back, to the days when Google was still is their primary revenue stream. Meta too. I think those are probably the big three. Meta, of course, can pull data from their social media platforms to integrate into their AI. So they have that big proprietary data source, which gives them an advantage over a company like Microsoft. Google, of course, has the search engine. So those two platforms get how many billions of impressions a day. That's all data that can be fed into the model. And really, when you talk about these companies, though, they somewhat have working relationships, often working together on data center projects, sometimes working with the government on data center projects. It's this cartel at this point of AI developers. And it kind of goes to reinforce the idea that in 2025, none of your data is safe. You're being watched everywhere. Everything is being collected. And either we get comfortable with that or we have to start pushing back. But and that's why we kind of have to use all the tools at our disposal. It can't just be political activism. There's unlikely to be this one bipartisan bill that's just going to fix all our problems and then we don't have to worry about it. There's definitely not an executive order we can just sign tomorrow. It's going to have to be a whole society approach to handling this AI issue. And that's why, holding these companies accountable through investor activism is also really important.
Well, I think it's important to look at, what you're doing and what others are doing around the nation to bring, shine some light on this, because, when I look at what the capabilities of these systems are, I'm a strategist. I look at things and go, how can that be used? For good, for bad, how can it be used against me, right? It's the old SWOT analysis, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And you look at what they're doing and what they're telling you they can do and what the future is. And we haven't even gotten into the area of qubits, right? And next realm computing. We're just talking about what they can do today on a regular basis. And it sounds very dystopian. If this deal doesn't, if your proposal isn't approved and shareholders don't go along with it, do you believe that we're one step closer to that dystopian future that we were all warned about in 1984?
100%. And a lot of the CEOs of these companies semi-explicitly say that is their goal, that they believe it would be better for society if, by the power of big data, big algorithms, big AI, that society could be managed from the top down, that you become a cog in this computer's machine. You become a cog in the model, and to a degree you already are, because all your information is being taken. And I think, unfortunately, the message that I would send if this proposal doesn't pass is that people aren't really going to put up a fight. People are going to kind of roll over and kind of let it happen. And yeah, sure, it's Big Brother running the world, but at least my social media feed is that much smarter. At least Google gets me what I want that much faster. At least ChatGPT can answer my questions. And I'm willing to take the trade-offs. That's the message we're sending right now. And I really think it's important to view this proposal as kind of a referendum on that mindset, and to kind of make an announcement to these companies, as we did last year, and as we're hoping to do again, that no, there's a significant portion of the population, there's a significant population of your investors that are not going to be okay with just rolling over and letting you accumulate kind of this dystopian, unprecedented level of power.
Well, thanks for coming on today and sharing with us what you guys are doing at NLPC and how the boring investor, the boring subject of investor activism that nobody wants to dive into and talk about, because nobody, it's boring. There's a reason you're doing it, is because everything that you're talking about affects me, every citizen in this country at some point. Our guest has been the Associate Director of the NLPC's Corporate Integrity Project, Luke Perlott. Luke, thank you for coming on to the show. Where can people find you?
NLPC.org.
Best way to get him, NLPC.org. There you have it. Luke Perlott, thank you so much.
Thanks, Tim.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
Global news with local views.
CramerSez returns after this message from our partners.
Franklin D. Roosevelt said,
In politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can be sure it was planned that way.
I don't make a habit of quoting FDR, but on this point, he's 100% right, which makes Vice President Vance's comments from last night even more important to pay attention to.
The only way to honor Charlie is to get to the bottom of exactly how this person was radicalized and who else was involved in it.
Hi, I'm Peter Flaherty, Chairman of the National Legal and Policy Center. Since 1991, the NLPC has investigated and exposed the high crimes and misdemeanors of politicians and corporate leaders alike. Our mission is about one thing: accountability, not partisanship, just like Vice President Vance was talking about last night.
That is political terrorism. But it's not just the people who are killing the cops. It's not just the people who are engaging and throwing the Molotov cocktails and in the riots. Where was the money coming from? Who was organizing this violent activity? That is not going after Democrats unless, by implication, you're saying every single Democrat is involved in planning political violence.
For the past several years, NLPC is focused on who's funding the violence on our streets and the radicalization of our kids. Oddly, the same names keep popping up. Names like Soros, Hoffman, and Gates. The protests and the riots aren't happening by accident. The violence is not spontaneous. The left strategy is clear: encourage arson, vandalism, and looting, and then blame the violence on the law enforcement response. The protesters are well-funded and equipped, and the NLPC is digging deep into exposing those responsible for supplying these groups with the masks, shields, and other devices being used to perpetuate violence in the name of social justice. To learn more about our mission or to join it, follow and share us on this social media platform or visit our website, nlpc.org.
To learn more about the CramerSez project, our mission, and how you can become a part of it,
Please visit thecramersezproject.com.
You're watching CramerSez.
Woo-hoo! Wednesday, almost over. Hump day, almost over, folks. Welcome to the show. My name is Kramer. This is the CramerSez Project. It's been an interesting 48 hours. We've had a lot of news that's come across the screen here in the last 48 hours that is really starting to light things up. You've got Ilhan Omar. She loses it after President Trump calls her garbage. See, I'm telling you, folks, if you listen to me, you're going to fully understand what's going on here. It's nothing different than the playground in 8th grade. If you realize that, you'll understand everything else that's going on. Chicago reporter William Kelly, we played him earlier today, had another issue with the mayor, Mayor Brandon Johnson there in Chicago. We've got Trump Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins tells reluctant blue states to turn over SNAP data for audit or lose funding. Folks, I think it's important for you to understand with that story in particular right there, that we have entered in this nation a new area that we haven't seen in several decades. It's the era of accountability. People coming in and saying, no, we're not doing it that way anymore. Well, we've always done it that way. I know, I understand that, but I'm in charge now, and we're not going to do it that way anymore. We're done. Now, most people will be reluctant to change. That's just who we are as humans. They don't want to change. Everybody wants the status quo. You talk to the left, they say, well, those conservatives, they like things being the way that they've always been. Really? Government shut down, SNAP stopped. You guys were pretty pissed off about that. And when you couldn't kill your babies anymore in every state you wanted to and have, open holiday on abortions, you got upset about that. The American people have reached the end of their width, folks, and you can see it everywhere. Tucker Carlson said it the other day in an interview that he goes, I'm angry at everybody. Do you feel the same? I know I'm quick to anger. I'm tired of the bullshit, and a lot of it comes from social media, right? We go to social media and we see the worst of the worst. Now, you have to understand that about social media. It is the worst of the worst. The problem is that the worst of the worst is now leaking into our daily lives. We're seeing it everywhere. The crazies have hit the street in full force. And in addition to that, we've got the threat of Democrats trying to shut down the system because they're angry. That's what it's all about. They're angry that they lost. They're going to do everything they can to put as many obstacles in our way. They're not going to work with us to make our lives better. So when they talk about, the Republicans refuse to compromise or refuse to meet, fuck you, you motherfuckers. We've tried to do that. There is no compromise left. Every time you guys don't get your way, you take to the streets and start burning shit down. Businesses die. People die. Communities die. You don't give two fucks. We're done talking to you about it. Now, I'm not angry as much as I am disappointed in our public officials. In particular, the conservatives, the Republicans, the ones that said that they were going to go in there and get things done. Well, Kramer, we can't. Bullshit. Then you're the wrong person for the job, and we got to replace you. My push, my quest in the next primary is, folks, I hope that in 2026, if we make it this far, and we have elections and everything else, I have no faith anymore. I have absolutely no faith that we will have free and fair elections in 2026 or 2028. But Trump's in office, Kramer. What do you mean? Really? Don't you remember what they did in 2020? They shut down the entire world, folks. That was so Trump couldn't win another election, so they could give it to Sleepy Joe. By the way, you realize that Trump has had as many cabinet meetings in the first year as Joe Biden had in his entire 4 years. Joe only met 9 times. 9 times, the entire cabinet. All the things that were going on the planet. You've got COVID, you've got wars, all this shit. The economy's tanking, all of it. 9 times he met with his cabinet to say, hey guys, where are we at? In the last meeting, Jill ran the entire show. Now, let me ask you something. Is that normal? Is it normal for people like Steve Bannon to take to the airwaves and say that if we do not win in 2028, he and others, like myself, will be rounded up by Democrats. How do we know that? Well, they're already saying it. They're telling us. They're telegraphing exactly what they're going to do. Eric Swalwell said that, hey, when we win in 2026, we take the House back in 2026, we're going to impeach Trump. Now, let me ask you a question. When he said that, were you asking any questions? Were you asking, well, what's he doing for me? Sounds like he's just against Trump, like he just hates Trump. Ask any of these Democrats what they're going to do for you. They don't have the answer. They can tell you what they're going to do to Trump. They can tell you all the ways they're going to prosecute him, all the crimes that he's committed. And all of his followers are racist and xenophobes and haters and should be put in camps. You see, that's what they were saying in 2020. That's what they've said since 2020. And now Swalwell is telling you, if we win, we're not only coming after the president, we're going to come after the ICE agents doing their jobs. Because nobody gets to say that we were just doing our job. Folks, they are trying to conflate what our ICE agents are doing with Nazi Germany. It's not the same. You see, the people in Germany were citizens, not illegals. They're trying to conflate the thing. So when they took the Jews to the concentration camps, they were taking German citizens to the concentration camps. Now, we're not taking anybody to concentration camps, not putting them on trains, not putting a star on their arm and giving them a tattoo. We're just saying, you're not here legally and you can't stay here anymore, and we're going to give you a trip home. Taxpayers are going to pay for it. You can't come back. If you do, you're going to see jail time. Has nothing to do with anti-Semitism or anything else or hate of brown and black people. You see, this is what the left always tries to do. The left will always use some kind of middle person or middle object to point at and say, that's what that person is doing wrong and that's who they're harming. For people that are being oppressed, for people that are under tyranny, they've got a lot of freedom to say it, freedom that we didn't have in 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2024. Remember when we were continually silenced until Musk came in and bought X? And what happened the moment he bought X? Everybody, all the libtards left. They don't want to compromise. They don't want to have a conversation. They're fucking bullies, folks. And all they want you to do is what every bully on the face of the earth wants you to do. Shut down, shut up, and do what the fuck you're told. That's what they want. That's why they don't want to be on the same platforms. They don't want to have a conversation with you. They want to kill you. Go and read stuff on Blue Sky. Go and read stuff on Threads. Go and read stuff on Reddit. If you're not diving into these hellholes of libtard logic, you're doing yourself a real disservice. You could have a real good time, especially if you drop a gummy and have a couple drinks. You're going to enjoy everything that you read on there because it'll put you in the right mindset to understand who these people are and who they're befriending. And they're okay with the Islam group coming in because they think they're all buddies. They haven't done their history. They haven't looked at all the other countries around the world that have tried to be nice to the Islam mob. See, the Islam mob is the next step up from the leftist. They don't want to talk to you either. They don't want to compromise either. They just want you to shut the fuck up, sit the fuck down, and do as you're told. No different than the left. The difference is that they will blow up buildings, they will blow up buses, they will kill you, they will behead you. Ever seen somebody beheaded? We saw that. You kids today, you don't get to see that stuff. Remember E-Bomb's World? Is it still around? I haven't been to that site in ages. Yeah, when Daniel Pearlman was separated, his body and his head were separated from each other. That was available on the old web. You could go in the old web in the old days and you could see everything. Can't do that today. They've locked it all down. They don't want you to see what the world's really like. They want you to imagine what the world could be, and they paint this picture of if you do this and you do this and you do this, we'll give you this world of tomorrow that's great, but they won't show you what the real world is. Why? Because in the real world, Muslims are killing Christians in Nigeria. Nearly 1 million. Nobody's saying anything about that. The left isn't crying about that. They're good with it. They're indifferent to it. Doesn't bother them, doesn't affect them. So ask yourself, if that's the situation that they're in, why are we having any conversation whatsoever? They do not want to compromise. They just want us to do what we're told. They're bullies. There'll always be bullies. Nobody from the playground ever fucking changed. You go to a class reunion today, I don't care if it's a 5-year, 10-year, 40-year. I went to my 40-year a year or so ago. And the people that were morons then, guess what? They're still morons today. The sweet people, still sweet. The people I got along with, hey, it was like picking up an old conversation. Hadn't seen them in 40 years, some of them. Started talking like, well, hey, what are you doing? And then the assholes showed up. The people who always thought that they were better than you. The guy who went and became a doctor and is all dressed to the nines for a... I did not get this. He showed up. He was dressed to the nines. This guy was ready to go out in New York City. He looked ridiculous. Everybody else was in shorts, and I was wearing, I think, a mafia shirt. You know, that's when I was fat. Had to cover up my belly. But he didn't change. He hadn't changed. He was still the asshole that he was in school. Pretentious, wanting you to you know, suck his dick while he's looking down his nose at you. Democrats are no different. The Muslims are no different. That's what's happening right now. You're seeing in Great Britain, Germany. You're seeing these Christmas celebrations being interrupted by Muslims coming in and doing their prayers and shit. Folks, you got to turn the tables on that shit that starts happening in your communities. Get yourself down to the mosque with your little group. Get yourself some speakers. And when they start doing their bullshit, blare it. I don't care what the fuck you rock. You can rock Christ music, you know, Jesus music, Christian music. You can rock AC/DC. I don't care what the fuck you rock, but you got to do it. You know why? Because when they do that to you, in their belief, when they're coming in and they're injecting themselves into your celebration, because they don't believe in Christmas. They think that it's a mockery, and they think that you're an infidel and that they should cut your head off. Folks, that's all Muslims. Now, there are good Muslims and bad Muslims. And what I mean by good Muslims is that the good Muslims are the ones that cut your heads off because they believe everything. They're the good Muslim. The bad Muslim is the one that, well, he believes it and he's not going to, you know, say I'm against it, but he ain't going to do it himself. The good Muslim relies on the bad Muslim to be your friend. Isn't that what Tucker Carlson said the other day? Well, I don't have any problem with these guys, these Pakistani guys. I do. Tucker, you're an idiot. A lot of things I think you're smart on, but this one you're a moron. Just because that person... Let me put it real bluntly, and let's get it down to brass tacks. All people are created equal, right? All people. In this nation, if you believe all people are created equal. Now, not all people are equal, right? Not all people are equal. Some people have more hair, better looking, bigger boobs, nice butt, taller, shorter. They've got this or they've got that. They've got something that you don't have. Most people find something in somebody else. They go, oh, I wish I had that. See, we're not all equal. We don't have equal things, but we're equal in who we are as people. You're not any better than I am. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what your skin color is. You are not better than me, and you're not better than him, her, or her. We're all the same. Now, if you think you're better, that's in your mind. And the rest of us will show you how you're wrong. That's where we've gotten to in this nation. We've got to get these people to understand that even though all people are equal, all cultures are not the same, and they're definitely not equal. But Kramer, you're a xenophobe. Absolutely. You can call me all the names you want. I don't give a fuck. I do not give two fucks. You can call me a racist. You can call me a xenophobe. You can call me any name you want. I don't give a shit. I learned a long time ago. I learned on the first day of school. What was that? What we were all taught? What did they say? What did the teacher tell you? Sticks and stones. Remember that? Did you forget that? I don't give a fuck you call me. I'm an adult. I've moved past that a long time ago. You got something better than name calling? You got policies that work? You got a way to create jobs in this country? Because until you can do that, shut your fucking pie hole.
Thank you for watching Kramer Says Live.
This concludes this broadcast.
Please follow, like, and subscribe to be notified the next time
The CramerSez project goes live.